Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, with a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review. This is number 72, and I am Virtue, being joined by the NoDQ.com Elite Panel. 5 again. That's right, 5 of us. So if you don't like it, tough. But it's myself, Aaron Rift, Robbie Vice, Big G, and back, TJS. TJS, what's up? I see you got no beard or anything going on.
Yeah, who let this kid on?
Yeah, what a mistake, man. I feel 10 years younger, and it's everybody at my work shaved, and I was like, oh, maybe I will. And then I immediately regretted it, and now I just want to wear a mask. Yeah, doing all right. Feeling good. Glad to be back. Been a pretty busy week in the world of professional wrestling. Pretty excited to talk about it, though. I've missed being on. Aaron, what's going on, man?
Well, it's been a very busy week, like you said. Maybe the busiest week in a long time. Maybe the busiest week of the year. I just got back from California. I was there in Los Angeles for the debut of Friday Night Smackdown on Fox. That was quite the experience. Jeff and I did several live streams. Those went over really well. I think Jeff wanted to be on tonight too, but oh well, too little, too late. And we got 5 here, so we already got a lot of different opinions for tonight's video. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody has to say about what's been going on in wrestling. Definitely no shortage of topics this week.
Well, good to have you back, TJS, and thank you as always, Aaron Rift. Big G, you're smiling. You got googly eyes. What's up?
Googly eyes. Now I'm doing good. You know, it's officially hoodie season for Big G.
Legging season for Big G.
Busy week. No. And yes, I still out for WWE. I have my Let Me In Fiend sweatshirt on right now.
You know what it should say, though? Let me win.
Let me win. There we go. Other than that, you know, I'm doing pretty good. My best friend, he just had his daughter on Monday. So congrats to him. And other than that, Robbie, how are you doing, brother?
Well, I said like 2 not even negative but neutral things about AEW, and I got blocked by 3 people. So the cult is living strong, but it was a pretty good Wednesday night in wrestling. I would like to forget about Sunday and Monday, but NXT, AEW both showed up some really good segments, so I'm looking forward to talk about those. Not forward so much to reliving Sunday, Monday, but I'm sure we'll have to dive into that.
We got a lot to talk about because, you know, last week we didn't do a review. So I'm just going to go in order. The first things first, Hell in a Cell, because we usually talk about pay-per-view events first when we do these shows. So how about the Fiend fallout? That's what I like to call it, versus Seth Rollins. We know that as the match was happening, we got a point where it was no selling beyond no selling, more than The Undertaker ever did. If they were going to go the supernatural route, you got to have them win. Plain and simple. I'm not even going to elaborate. I'm going to let everybody here talk because you follow me on Twitter. You already know what I have to say about this. They should have paid it off. There was no sense not to. Vince McMahon, come on, you're better than that, and you have competition now. So, Big G, I'm going to start with you. In general, your Hell in a Cell, you know, what was memorable? Obviously, I know one thing you're going to talk about. Go.
Well, up until, you know, the Hell in a Cell match, I did enjoy most of it. I did enjoy Becky versus Sasha. You know, those two really pulled it off. They had some great spots. Sasha did that meteor off the top rope through the table. Becky did her drop kick when Sasha was on the chair. That was pretty nice, you know. It was pretty good. And then we had that atrocious Hell in a Cell match. You know, I enjoyed the lighting. You know, they kept it like supernatural. Kind of kept it like.
You did.
It was I liked it. You know,
it was like those Kane squash matches early in '98 or '99, but they didn't keep that around that long back then.
Yeah, and you know, the way it ended, you have Bray Wyatt come back as the Fiend, as this, you know, I don't want to say kind of dominant at the time, you know, supernatural being that's no selling these 21 curb stomps, and he gets beat up, you know, with the ladder and the toolbox, and then the ref stops it after Seth Rollins hits him with a sledgehammer with all this stuff on top of his face. Why didn't he stop it when he hit him with the ladder or with the toolbox? Why did you have to stop the match when he hit the sledgehammer? It's crazy. It's stupid. Vince should have just let Wyatt win. And that's all I have to say.
All right, TJS. There was only one, maybe two people that should have stopped that match. First one, The Fiend, by winning it. If he didn't do it, the only person that should have stopped that match for some stupid screw job would have been Vince McMahon. It made no sense the way they did it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, don't you guys remember when they started the match when Mick Foley went off the cell, or when was back body drop through the cell, or when he got slammed on the tags or slammed through the ring? Or what about when Braun Strowman got put in the garbage truck? Do you remember when they stopped the match for that? I mean, the referee's just concerned about the safety. That's what it is, folks. This is 2019. We cannot have this violence on TV. What do you think? No, seriously, this has to be one of the worst booking decisions I've ever seen. It makes no sense to me. And had the referee go and say, "Oh, it was because I did what was right at the time." The only rule in Hell in a Cell is that there's no rules. That's how it's been, and I feel like that's how it should always be. But now they've drawn the line. They're saying if you hit someone with the sledgehammer, they're gonna throw the match out. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So you've killed the credibility of the match, because we know it's not as. They really sell it as like a hellish structure that's short years. And it's not that anymore, because you can just, The Fiend no-sold all those stomps like you guys said. And then after he got hit with the sledgehammer, he just got right up. Why didn't the ref say, wait, never mind, he's okay, reverse the decision, restart the match, like the fans were chanting? I just want you guys to, do you remember, Triple H, you are the authority. What is going on? Like, The Fiend is seriously one of the, probably the most overactive in the company. And you're getting such loud boos for Rollins, who at the beginning of this year was one of the top baby faces. But now, what the hell's going on? You guys have down. And I feel like the only thing that can happen is The Fiend has to have a fresh start on SmackDown, or Rollins has to turn heel if this feud's going to continue. Something's got to happen. If The Fiend again he loses, that's it. Bray already has a bad track record as it is, so it can't get much worse. And on top of that, you had The Fiend appear on a live stream today for WWE 2K20. So much for kayfabe, I guess. The character's pretty much done at this point, I feel like, already.
I disagree. Rob, before you start, all they got to do is let The Fiend win the title the next time he faces Rollins. And then maybe the referee that ended that match, let him do the mandible claw gimmick to that referee on a Raw. That's how you solve the problem. What do you think, Robbie?
Ooh, little old me?
Yeah.
I didn't hate the match itself, because I felt like it was one of those things where they were trying to have Rollins cross that line. It's like The Fiend was playing mind games with him. So that was fine. He kept making Rollins go darker and darker, kind of like what they did to Cena back in the day, is that if they or won't they turn heel. The end of the match was dumb. I mean, I don't think there's very many people who would say the end of the match was good. The match psychology was good. Making him try to make Rollins evil is good. The referee stopping a match, I mean, it's stupid. I won't go in depth on it. It was really dumb. But Virtue's right. The only really, and to fix this situation, you have The Fiend win the title, have him take out that referee, yowie wowie, everyone's happy. Wrestling fans have such short memories that if he wins the title this coming Monday, no one will talk about this again unless we do a review of the year at the end of the year. So I think it's going to be an afterthought here in a couple of weeks.
And hold on, I just wanted to bring up one more thing. You had Jerry Lawler on commentary for this match. If you really want to sell The Fiend, you would have Lawler say, no, I'm not calling this match. I'm not going to be anywhere near this guy. But no, we just have Lawler making his stupid jokes and his high-pitched voice. And actually, I'll give Jerry credit. He's the only person that acknowledged the red lighting. The rest of the commentators didn't. They didn't mention it.
Yeah.
That's something that...
I didn't like the red light for the whole match anyway. At first I thought my buddy's TV was broken, but it turns out it was just a stupid idea that someone had in the back.
So, Aaron, thoughts? I know you've already talked about this, but like if they did that red light gimmick and say the Fiend went over, have the match with the normal lighting, right? It's one thing they already painted the cage red. They could have left that silver. But like say the whole match was going on, regular lighting, then the red light comes on, then the Fiend gets real wacko and wins the match, and it's over. And then everyone's like, whoa, what's happening here? Like Undertaker, spooky urn type stuff. You know what? We know wrestling's fake. I said it. But let's suspend our disbelief like we're watching something we could believe in just to get in out of our own little bubble. Aaron, what do you think? Because you're a big horror movie fan. I felt like I was watching a horror movie that didn't have a very good ending.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I like that idea where he would only bring out the red light towards the end of the match as like a last resort. I think that that's a great idea. I just don't understand what they were thinking with this. Like, they knew this wasn't going to go over well with people. They just had to know, right?
Well,
unless
apparently,
Vince is just that senile.
And there was a report that Vince like laughed about how they reacted. He's like, like I read something about him laughing at how the fans reacted to the ending. Like, come on.
I mean, maybe he feels it doesn't matter at this point. I just don't understand what WWE was thinking in the first place, even booking this match, knowing that they would be booking themselves into a corner because they don't want to, for whatever reason, they don't want to take the title off of Seth Rollins, and they didn't want to put the title on Bray Wyatt. But, I mean, this was like the most obvious.
Seth's a big draw. Right, bringing into those eyeballs.
Oh, yeah, he's just the biggest draw in WWE history, right up there with Stone Cold and The Rock. So yeah, it's just so mind-boggling. I don't care about Hell in the Cell anymore. They might as well retire the stipulation, or at least send it away for a while. The themed
pay-per-view is stupid.
Yeah, I would at the very least get rid of the themed pay-per-view and maybe not do Hell in the Cell for a couple of years until there's a really good storyline reason to do it. But yeah, I'm just let down that the Hell in the Cell was a joke. Second year in a row that they didn't do a finish for the Hell in the Cell match. And it's hard now to take other stipulation matches seriously because, like, what's to stop WWE from doing a submission in the Royal Rumble, or what's stopping WWE from doing a DQ in a ladder match, or who knows? It's just like they're watering down their stipulations. I think that's the most damage that was done, more so than Wyatt's character. I do agree with you, Virtue. I think that there's still an opportunity to recover with Bray Wyatt, but I think WWE really hurt the stipulations, and it's going to be hard for people to take these matches seriously because they're going to be thinking in the back of their minds, well, you know, this match might have some kind of screwy finish. It doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters. Like, these stipulation matches just don't matter.
It's like they're afraid to
change the rules.
It's like they're afraid to book something because they don't know how to write or follow it up. But, you know, Russo would say, and I know everybody says, oh, here we go again. But he would say, let's just do it. And I'm talking the WWF Russo with Vince McMahon. When it was like Crash TV, but Vince was allowing it. And everybody was compelled with Rock and Stone Cold and Mick Foley and all that. Russo would say, let's just do it, and then we'll figure it out later. Vince McMahon has nobody to challenge him. We'll say that. And that's why this did not happen.
So is it true that NoDQ.com is being renamed to DQ.com?
I mean, it might as well be if Vince McMahon was booking it, right?
Well, there's already a Dairy Queen, so...
If 70-something Vince McMahon was booking it, you might have booked it. But let's move on because everybody loves wrestling, and we got the Wednesday Night Wars, AEW versus NXT. So 2 weeks now it's been head-to-head, and AEW is winning the ratings. This past week, it shrunk considerably. We had about 2.3 million combined viewers the first week. That dropped just to under 2 million this week, with AEW still on top. I think NXT is probably hitting their 750, 800,000 plateau. What's AEW going to do? Robbie, I want to start with you because we'll talk about AEW first here. I really think, I know they got to slow roll some of this stuff, but don't you think they have too many things that casual fans and people flipping through the channel can't relate to? They're doing stuff like only wrestling fans that already watch it know. And I get that. That's fine. Make your audience happy. But like early on, wouldn't you want to try to grow? What do you think about? Talk about AEW first.
So AEW as a whole, it's a great promotion. They have a lot of really fantastic superstars. I think they have the best main event scene, the best tag teams, and the best announcers in wrestling. What I will say though is the fan base is cult-like, and we're in a position now to where you could say something neutral or something not viewed favorably, and they will downvote you, they will criticize you, they will call you out. And that's not good, because when we had WWE at its height in the Attitude Era, there was some bad segments. If we go back and watch those Raws and stuff, there were some really stupid things that happened, and the fans didn't say anything. And, it's like, at first they came and took my guns and I said nothing. We didn't speak out about WWE back in the day. And look what it's turned into. Yeah, it's a different company now. But if we're not able to criticize what we see that we don't like, then the company that puts that out thinks that that's what everyone wants to see. And they're going to keep doing that. So AEW as a whole, I think they have a lot going for them. But I think people need to stop white knighting and defending every little thing that they don't like that people have to say about it that maybe they disagree with. Differing opinions doesn't necessarily mean that we want the promotion to fail. I want them to be successful because I like wrestling. If they do well, WWE has to step it up. NXT steps it up. We have NWA again. There's a lot of wrestling promotions that are going to benefit from this. Guys get jobs. Guys get paid. It's good for everyone. But with that being said, AEW lost 400,000 viewers this week. It's not a great start. They had some issues selling out the arenas, and that's something Aaron talked about on his stream earlier today. I think that has to do with some scalpers, people buying up tickets, not being able to resell them. But it's not a good look for the second week in a major city. So yeah, AEW, I think it's going to do really well. People just need to calm down, and that's my random 30-second rant on AEW. So I don't even know what you're asking me.
And we're gonna go around the horn with AEW first. So Aaron. Thoughts, and I know you want to talk about Jericho's inner circle. We called this, Jericho should be the first champion. He should be dominant on television and have a faction. I don't care what it's called. I thought it was going to be called The List. I don't know if it's going to do that or not. I like inner circle, right? Because we hear rumors on the internet all the time. Does he think that Omega and the Young Bucks and Cody are very cliquey backstage? We've heard rumors. We don't know. But then we see his group called the Inner Circle. It's for great television for wrestling fans. But they got to make casuals understand what this means. So what do you think the goods and the bads for AEW so far?
Well, I definitely think it's a very compelling show so far. I like watching it. It's been a very easy watch the past 2 weeks. And NXT's been great too. Both shows, they're different. They are different from each other. And funny enough, I feel like AEW is more of the sports entertainment show than NXT. And you would have thought maybe perhaps in the beginning that the WWE product would be the more sports entertainment oriented show, but I feel like AEW is more sports entertainment oriented. I like AEW because they're doing a very 90s style presentation with their television, which is cool for the Attitude Era fans, and it makes for a very fun show. I still think they need to work on developing their characters. There's lots of little things they can do. Entrance music. I keep arguing for Jim Johnston. I think they should bring him in. And, it's only 2 weeks in. It's too early to say, what's really working and not working. And I think they just got to keep trying different things. And where's Luchasaurus? I love that guy, and we still haven't seen him yet. I mentioned this on my stream. I felt like Kenny Omega should have not been on the show this week. He should have sold that move through the glass table and taken a week off. And you could have put somebody like Luchasaurus on, or somebody else who hasn't been on TV yet. Try different things with different people and see what clicks, see what doesn't. And AEW will figure it out over the next several weeks. They'll keep trying different things with different people, and they'll just have to see what catches on and what doesn't. I mean, I think they got a good shot at success because they seem to be very much going with the idea that the fans are going to decide what gets pushed and what doesn't. And I think that'll help them in the long run.
Yeah, and I agree. And Jericho, those are great. I love the fact that they can cut promos off script, and he can take shots at WWE in the competition. Like some of the people back in the Attitude Era said, when you're in second place, you should mention the competition and that you're better than them. And then when you're in first place, you should ignore them and just keep doing your thing. So I do like the fact. And granted, AEW's winning Wednesday nights. Let's look at this. Yes, they're beating NXT. But overall, they're nowhere close to what Raw and SmackDown are drawing. So, let's just look at this inside the bubble, right, Robbie? Until AEW starts doing over 2 million, they're competing with NXT, which was never on a network. So, TJS, thoughts on AEW and the fact that the Young Bucks lost. So I believe they're out of this tag team title tournament. But here's my prediction. They're going to have a heel team win the tag belts, and then the first challengers are going to be the Young Bucks to beat them for it. But anyway, what do you think?
Well, all I'm going to say is I can't wait to watch Wednesday Night Wars on the WWE Network in 20 years. No, but really, so
so much
you
for that.
have...
Okay, you're back.
I don't think it... Did you guys hear me?
Yeah, well, keep going.
I don't think it's fair to compare AEW and NXT because you have NXT, which is a developmental brand, supposedly. There's no pyro. The venue's smaller. There's tons of, it's developmental versus an A show.
Well, but all the wrestlers have the same experience, but WWE treats it like developmental with the production.
That's true. Yeah, so I guess you could say NXT is produced as a developmental show.
Yeah.
Where, and here's what I like about AEW. I like that they have pyro. I like the colorful set. NXT, it's kind of like gritty and dark, so it's a very big difference there. I like that AEW. I don't know. I just feel like they do a lot of stuff that the matches aren't super long. What's happening?
You must have a thunderstorm going on down there or something. Maybe it's just my feed. Is it everybody's feed? Keep going, though. It's just choppy a little bit.
Yeah. So, like I said, AEW is, I don't know. I like it, but I feel like we've gotten this run in. A lot of people just run down there, and it's a big chaotic brawl to end the show. We got that 2 weeks in a row. And as far as Jericho goes, man, I don't know how I feel about him talking bad about WWE Creative because he was with that company for a long time. So much for company loyalty. I mean, I remember when he said, "Oh, I would never work with another company in North America without Vince's approval."
But they don't have a lot of loyalty to some of these guys that they kick their ass out as soon as they're done with them.
Jericho has worked closely with Vince McMahon, and when this is all said and done, he knows deep down Vince McMahon respects him for doing it because that's how Vince McMahon is. He might not, and he's playing on the enemy's team, right? Saying bad things, but Vince McMahon is all about the balls, and if you're a real man's man, and Jericho's doing what he wants, and
that's another thing about it.
McMahon probably respects that, but we'll never see.
That's another thing about this. I don't want the other wrestlers, like the competing wrestlers, going on Twitter wishing each other luck. I don't want that. This is a damn war. Act like it's a war. Take shots at each other. Be petty. Be nasty about it. Don't just make it like, oh, well, good luck tonight. Like, no. I want this to be a drag-out fight.
With all due respect, TJS, you're always interviewing for a job, and the internet is a permanent place, especially on Twitter. So these guys are probably thinking if something bad goes down, they're going to jump to the other side, so they want to be on good terms with everybody.
Fine, but still, this is a war. Have two separate accounts for that. Come on.
I agree with that.
It kills my disbelief. It makes me think that these two, it's not about winners. Everyone gets a participation award. No, I want a decisive winner. Give me that, damn it. And that's my biggest gripe. But Chris Jericho has been the highlight of Dynamite the last 2 weeks. I love the faction. Love everything about it. It's a Jericho that we haven't seen before. I love it.
Now, Big G, I like the lead into Darby Allin. First of all, I'm glad he won because he kind of reminds me, he's a skateboarder, Jeff Hardy type, right?
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's the one that won that match, and he's going to obviously job to Jericho next week. But that'll be cool. That a title match on actual, the AEW Dynamite show. And like I said, they should set up a hot tub for Jericho in the back. So, what's your thoughts on AEW?
Well, for the person who thought AEW was going to be the worst thing in the world, I've actually been enjoying the past 2 weeks of AEW. TJS mentioned, the pyro. Well, obviously, Raw and Smackdown got the pyro back too now. I'm enjoying Jericho. I'm enjoying the hell out of Jericho. That promo he did last night, it was just like
He's so good when he messes words up. When he messes words up, you don't care.
Exactly.
Like if Roman cut a promo and messed up a word, it's over. But when Jericho kind of that's what happened.
And for me, I don't know why. I know it's the Wednesday Night Wars and it's about the ratings. for me, it's not about the ratings. It's about the shows. You know, you have 2 different shows on 2 different channels. Somebody's going to watch AEW. Somebody's going to watch NXT. You're going to watch both of them. You know, if one show does bad, oh well. If one show does good, good for them. You know, vice versa. It's not about the ratings for me. I'm just enjoying being a fan, watching wrestling. You know, AEW. You know, like I said, I like Jericho. I enjoy John Moxley. You know, I'm kind of glad that the Young Bucks put Private Party over, so it doesn't seem like you said earlier.
Just wait.
Hey,
Just wait.
You mean the Street Profits?
The Private Party. So yeah, I'm enjoying AEW. I'm going to Full Gear in Baltimore this coming month in November, so I'll be posting pictures of the arena, seeing if it's sold out. And
So since you mentioned that, I want to get this on video. My call is at that show, Cody versus Jericho. Jericho retains because one MJF says, "I'm not your friend, Cody." Dude, they can't book him as a baby when he's such a down the road. Yes,
I'm gonna agree.
Right
with
now,
you.
it has to be a seed.
MJF,
it has to be a seed being planted for him to come out because this guy is ruthless.
Next to Jericho,
he can't be a baby.
Next to Jericho, MJF, I think, is a great heel in this, you know, era that we're in.
Sooner rather than later.
You know, I've heard him on interviews. You know, he does interviews with people, and he plays the character very well. He doesn't break
that MJF for at least 2 years before they want to entertain. Let's push you as a character babyface. He needs to get traction.
The bad thing about it is that people they're not gonna boo Jericho. That's what sucks because he's over with that little bit of the bubbly phrase, and yeah, people are not. Well, he even took a shot at Dusty. Yeah. He's a great heel and everything, but it's just gonna be hard to get him.
But don't say great heels because MJF all of a sudden does that spot last night on Dynamite, and he gets cheered like this big top baby face. See, the fans want to do what the fans want to do.
I don't think that's a bad thing, though. And I'm a huge MJF heel fan. I think it's a good thing. The fans love the guy. Everyone loves MJF. He doesn't have to be a stupid, happy-go-lucky WWE babyface. He could just ride that line, and we don't really know if he's a babyface. He's just Cody's friend. That's all we've established so far. I don't think it's necessarily a face turn.
And
he's turning on Cody.
Let me
that's a program. That's a feud.
Yeah,
MJF,
of course.
I think MJF has always been a heel, and the reason why I say that is I'm going back to my MCW days back in Maryland. I first saw MJF in Maryland Championship Wrestling, 2 years ago, and he was already a great heel back then. And I think being with Cody, and everybody in the backstage, he's getting all the experience and whatnot, and let him be a heel. Like you said, Virtue, let him be a heel for the next couple of years, and then eventually, if they want to turn him babyface, turn him babyface.
It's coming. All right, Big G, I'm going to stay with you on this one. Now let's talk about NXT. So Balor's in NXT. Ciampa's back, right, wanting Goldie. And the Cruiserweight title is now in NXT, and there's a new champ, Lio Rush, who's your boy. So thoughts on those 2 weeks of NXT with 2 overruns or whatever they call
overruns.
It. Which is interesting. So what do you think?
I wonder, excuse me. I wonder if that's a ploy, for WWE to get that little bit of extra, ratings or whatever for people to watch NXT when AEW is over. But I'm sure it'll stop here eventually once a new show on USA starts. So Balor back in NXT, I think was a good choice. He really wasn't doing much on Raw or SmackDown anymore. NXT UK would have been good for him too, but NXT is where he started. He'll have a good feud with Adam Cole eventually down the line. He can have a good match with Velveteen Dream. Anybody in NXT he'll have a good match with. I'm glad Ciampa's back, He'll get Goldie back eventually. And as far as Lio Rush being the new NXT Cruiserweight Championship, like Aaron said earlier on his live stream, it's a new era. for the cruiserweights. Might as well have a new champion. And Lio Rush, he went through all this stuff in the past 6 months while he was away. Yes, because I follow Lio Rush on Instagram and whatnot, and I, watch his stuff. And I think the kid deserves it. He's 23 years old, just like Velveteen Dream. He's got a long way to go still. And NXT, I think, is the perfect fit for him. The whole thing with Bobby Lashley was getting boring. And, NXT is the place to be for, up and rising stars. And so is AEW. But that's what I think.
All right, well, I'm going to pass it to Robbie Vice, but you didn't even mention Shayna Baszler. Just pointing that out.
Ouch.
Yes. Well, she was not on this week's show, was she?
No,
but she defended against Candice last week, though.
So let me, before Robbie starts, so Shayna
Make
Baszler,
it quick.
Yes, she retained last week against Candice, and I think her next opponent down the line at
he's all hung up on Shayna.
Yeah. Go Shayna. All right, Robbie.
I thought NXT was a pretty average show, and I can't say it better than Aaron. They're really not adjusting to what AEW is doing. They're just going to go out there and do their show week after week. It had some high points. It had some low points. I thought the Velveteen Dream is amazing. The Velveteen Dream and, the big faction on the show, which somehow eludes my mind. What is their name? Has all the belt. Undisputed Era. Damn, oh, my God. I know my mind's not working.
Oh boy, here come those thumbs.
Get ready for the dislikes.
Right, yeah. I need my caffeine. I'm a huge fan of theirs. I thought it was a decent show. But the one thing I will say about the Cruiserweight title being on there is I have a question for you, Virtue.
Uh-oh.
When it's all said and done now, after your big debate, did 205 lives matter?
Well, I mean, it's just a title now on NXT, which is probably like the third or fourth most important title on that show. So, no.
Okay, well, sorry.
I
will miss that show, though. That they did have a good review of that show.
It gives me hope that they'll sign Enzo again and patch up all of those, right. bad relations from the past and bring him as maybe a rating spike against AEW. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, and I know a lot of people out there hate him. That's why I want it to happen.
That's right. No, but Ciampa coming back was the best part of the show for me. Him walking down there with his crutch is a weapon now, which I guess is interesting. So I'm just looking forward to see what they do with him. But it was just a pretty average NXT show. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was terrible. It was NXT. It was probably what they would have done whether they were on the network or not. So yeah, that was my opinion.
That's how I feel about it too. Aaron?
Yeah, I mean that's what I said during my review. NXT was fine, but wasn't like this show where you had to tune in, and if you missed it, you missed something spectacular. I would say just watch it at your own leisure. And with AEW, I felt like it was very much a show where you want to be watching it live, and it has that anything can happen atmosphere. So yeah, NXT is going to do what it's going to do. I'm sure Triple H is not sweating AEW, and he's just accepting the numbers as what they are, and NXT will continue to do their thing, and people that like it will continue to watch. But I don't see NXT. I think, like you said, Virtue, NXT has this niche audience, and I think Triple H is fine with that. And regardless of what people say about NXT, it's still the developmental brand. A lot of those matches on this week's show were designed to build up the new up-and-coming superstars that will eventually be on the main roster. It's just a matter of when they come up to the main roster. I don't think WWE wants to hotshot Johnny Gargano and all these other guys because they're having trouble with the guys they already have on television and trying to get them over. So they're just going to let those guys do their thing in NXT for now. And down the line, I think we will see Johnny Gargano on the main roster and Ciampa and all the rest of them. So yeah, NXT I think will continue to be what it's been. I don't see WWE changing the NXT brand to try and compete with AEW. I don't think we're going to see NXT go through some sort of huge change. I think they're just going to go with their formula, what works for them, and that's going to be that.
TJS, what could NXT do a little bit, like superstars, bringing in new wrestlers, you know what I mean, like an Enzo, signing an Enzo, or another call down, if that's what you want to call it, because they're clearly going to keep the same NXT formula, but could new faces make it seem more important? Can they do that?
Yeah, so that's why Finn Balor's there, I think. They want to draw that star power. I feel like, yeah, and they've also moved the cruiserweights there. I don't know if they're trying to fill time or if they're trying to compete. I don't know, but I didn't watch NXT this week, so can someone tell me, are they making Ciampa a babyface?
Yes. The way it looks like,
I don't know. Maybe.
if he doesn't
Wow.
face, if he faces Adam Cole, which we know Adam Cole and Undisputed Era, we know they're heels, and Ciampa is gonna end up being the baby face because he's gonna
Maybe
be
they'll let the
facing.
crowd pick. In NXT, everybody's a baby face anyway.
Well, okay,
Except maybe
well,
like Shayna.
Also, so it really bothers me that it's called the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. And then we have the NXT UK Women's Championship, but it's called the WWE United Kingdom Championship. Why is it not called the NXT United Kingdom Championship? Someone tell me.
Email WWE. Maybe they'll answer you.
I will. That's all I have to say. I just think that, like you guys said, NXT's chilling.
We'll see. I mean, that's what NXT is going to rely on. They're going to, when's Velveteen Dream going to finally confront the NXT champion and he gets his shot? It's those little things that Triple H is going to bank on, which is what they would have done anyway. So let's see what happens to these ratings, though. I suspect AEW will bump back up a little bit. I think the baseball game, the True TV thing, kind of skewed them a little bit. I don't see NXT getting too close in the foreseeable future unless they do something dramatic, which they probably won't. It's probably just going to be NXT as usual. Let's talk about SmackDown. So, first of all, Aaron, you were there.
Yeah.
I'll start with you on this. So, The Rock was there, right? Huge rating spike. They got that first rating show almost at 4 million. They're happy about that, okay? And we know what happened in the main event. So, take it away, and where do you think SmackDown will flatline? Fox is the broader audience than USA, but it's still SmackDown. Are people going to believe that this is WWE's new A show? So what do you think?
Well, that's a great question. I think that SmackDown numbers will drop. This week, they might not drop too bad because we have the draft, and I think people will tune in out of curiosity. I think Raw and SmackDown will do good numbers, but man, I know Fox, they're very happy with the numbers, and they have pretty good expectations that the numbers will stay relatively high, which, I mean, considering that Fox is on national television, I would suspect that the numbers would be above what they were doing on USA. However, I just don't see them maintaining those high numbers. I think that by the end of the year, it's probably going to be back under 3 million. I don't think it'll get quite as low as it was before, but yeah, I think Fox is going to be in for a rude awakening with those numbers, unless WWE turns things around and has a hot new superstar. But I mean, we saw it with the Raw reunion. We saw it with Raw 25. When you bring in all the big guns and you bring in all the legends, you can hotshot a huge number. I think the Raw 25 did like 4.5 million viewers. So
well, I feel,
possible.
Aaron, that what they're doing with SmackDown, and they've always been guilty of this over the years, is the cross promotion. I mean, they really shoved it down our throats with Cain Velasquez. I don't even know his last name. You know, yeah. Tyson Fury. Then they had the girl from ESPN or whatever, or Fox Sports Now, the interviewer in the back. Like, Aaron, I feel like they're trying to really cross promote wrestling as a sport and you know what I mean? Like, more than ever. Like, what do you think?
I don't think that that's going to change anything as far as interest in WWE goes. What's going to change interest in WWE is just putting on a better show week after week after week and building new stars and all that. And same thing with AEW. It's all about building new stars and developing a compelling show and having a track record. SmackDown, even when SmackDown was doing great for a while in 2016, the ratings weren't really all that great for SmackDown. So they're really going to need to have some star power and some compelling storylines. And yeah, with Fox, I think if something catches fire, SmackDown's going to have a better chance of keeping those numbers up because Fox will be supporting the brand and doing more than what USA Network is doing. So if WWE can get it together, then I think that Fox will definitely help out with the numbers going up. But I just don't see it. You know, they're changing the set, they're doing these little changes here and there, changing the logo, but that's just putting a Band-Aid on this giant wound, you know, and I still don't know how things are going to be in a couple months, but I would suspect unless we get some major superstar on the rise, they're going to go down. That's just how I see it.
All right, and before I go to Robbie, tell Caitlin I said hi, Aaron.
Okay.
Robbie, like, this has to be Fox mandated. WWE always tried to bring in another type of athlete for segments, matches. 2 at once on the same show. Okay, do you see where I'm going with this? Like, what do you think, man?
Yeah, that's probably Fox saying we gave you billions of dollars. I believe they paid for WWE to be on that what Disney paid for Star Wars. It's a lot of money. So I'm sure ESPN over the years has accumulated some favors they can call in to get some of these big name people to show up. But it looks like everyone had fun. The Tyson Fury thing I thought was just like, I don't know. I guess for me, I didn't really care about any of this stuff. Like, if I want to watch boxing, I'll watch boxing. If I want to watch MMA, I'll watch MMA. The Brock Lesnar stuff with the other dude, which I thought was Rey Mysterio's son at first, I just don't really care about it. It's not something that's I'm gonna tune in regardless because it's a new Friday show. But it's not. If I was a casual viewer and I heard that, maybe if I was a giant MMA fan, I'd tune in. But I didn't really care about that. The Rock obviously brings eyes to the product every time he's on there. That's you can thank Dwayne Johnson. They should really call him directly and thank him for the rating spike they had there. But I will say, on everything that happened, it was the best main event I've seen in a WWE televised event in probably 15 years.
Rob, in 8 seconds.
In 8 seconds.
In 8 seconds, what's your thoughts on Kofi's title reign?
About time.
Wow. That was even quick. That was like 1 second.
Yeah.
All right, Big G. Look, it's not rocket science. They didn't get all this money from Fox to have Kofi Kingston as their WWE champion.
Right.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, it was a no-brainer for me. I know there were some people wanting doubt heading into that match, like, you know, something would happen and the match would get thrown out. But I know that people did not expect 8 seconds. And you know what? When I watched it, I was relieved. Because I was at WrestleMania and I saw Kofi go over Bryan, which really, really halted one of the best heel runs in a long time. Maybe one of the best heel runs, in my opinion, since that 2008 Chris Jericho suit, slow talking, Shawn Michaels feud that I really got invested in. And they took it away so quickly. And that's why I think I really am upset at this Kofi reign, right? It had nothing to do with him, right? Had nothing to do with that he's African-American. I think WWE should have did it in February, like Aaron said. Look, I put over Ron Simmons for being the first WCW African-American champion. That was awesome. Booker T got his push, which was awesome in 2000. So we've had this before. WWE hasn't done that with their particular title.
You wanted anyone in the New Day but him to be champion, and you were pushing hard for Big E.
So
right,
it's nothing with that, right? Kofi is that mid-card act was fine all those years for me, but like if that was Big E doing that, I would have bought into it. Okay, you ended a great Daniel Bryan heel run. That's my problem. So Big G. What do you think of SmackDown on Fox? I mean, you can't wait for it every Friday. I know.
I enjoyed it. You know, I did see the MMA UFC fight between Lesnar and Velasquez when Velasquez beat Lesnar for the UFC title. So I'm not gonna watch Crown Jewel when it is live, like at 2 p.m. Eastern or whatever. I'll probably watch it later on in the day because we know it's going to be Lesnar versus Velasquez at Crown Jewel. You know, I dig the new theme song because I'm a big fan of AC/DC. What else? The Tyson.
Kind of an old band to have for a current theme song.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, you know,
I love AC/DC, but you would think they would have like Imagine Dragons or something that appeals to today's.
Well, they're trying to make it.
First of all, time out. No, Imagine Dragons, Aaron. They're on sports arenas and anthems everywhere. That's an anthem.
So is Justin Bieber.
Oh my God!
You're comparing Justin. Aaron, we all know that your taste in music is dicey, except the Beatles, but that's okay. I'm just saying though, they're a popular band that sells out arenas. Okay, but that's fine.
So, anyways,
it's just the entrance to a show, and it's.
Like you guys said, you know, they're doing this whole cross-promotion thing because, you know, Fox is known for their sports. And we know with the draft coming up, they're going to have celebrities from Fox Sports, like, the NFL panelists and whatnot. So I think the ratings this week, it won't be as high as last week, but I still think it'll be at least like about 2.5, 2.6 million.
Whoa, that's a huge decline. That's what you think?
Something like that. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. I'm fine with it.
All right, TGS. I predict 3. By the way, and by the way, Aaron, you probably never heard Demons and Radioactive. I rest my case. TGS.
Those are the only songs I know of them, actually.
Yeah, and those were the early ones, and we know how bands tend to get too poppy afterwards, but nonetheless, still a great band in my opinion. Go TJS.
Yeah, so think of it. So WWE threw everything at this show. This was everything that they had, and they didn't draw 4 million. And Fox thinks that they're going to keep this consistent. No. To quote Stone Cold Steve Austin, like it's not happening. I wouldn't be surprised if they go under 3 million this week. Because think of it, they had Brock, they had The Rock, they were just really building up this premier WWE Championship. It was everything that they could fit onto the show. It was just jam packed. And yeah, Fox is, but it's not in my home. So I struggle to be able to find a way to watch Fox, so shout out to Noah Foster for letting me use this Hulu Live. Anyway, about the Kofi thing, so I agree with you, Virtue. Daniel Bryan, earlier this year, he was the top heel in the business, and now he's a babyface. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, we'll be talking about that here shortly.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It is going to be Cain Velasquez and Brock, and Braun Strowman is now the Big Show. He's using the right hand. He's being booked like the Big Show. Yeah. As soon as he did that, I was like, oh no, he's actually the Big Show. He's gonna turn babyface and turn heel on and off. Oh my God. Crazy how they've massacred his character. But yeah, SmackDown, I don't know. Apparently, they're still going to have Brock versus Kofi because they're advertised for a face-off later on. Card subject to change, of course, but yeah, I don't know. I did notice that it looked like Cain Velasquez was certainly enjoying the catering in the arena, though. So that's
He took that shirt off. He probably shouldn't have. He doesn't.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's probably in better shape than 99% of us.
Oh,
I would
yes,
think he's probably in better shape than everyone in that locker room.
Yeah, but but to compare him to us, the standard of a UFC fighter is completely different than podcast panelists. So, anyways. Okay, so let's talk about the WWE draft. Does that actually start tomorrow night, Friday night?
Yeah, I think so.
And they're making it like Fox versus USA. That's the caveat here. That's to make this feel special. And are they breaking it up into 2 parts, obviously, for SmackDown and Raw? So who might go where? I mean, I don't really care about these drafts anymore because I'm always disappointed. The first 1 or 2 where Cena landed on Raw or SmackDown, I can't remember back in the day. That felt important. Every superstar shakeup or draft since, I'm like, ugh. Robbie, what do you think?
I don't care how this turns out. I mean, I think at the end of the day, right now, Fox is going to get the bigger names because they have the most to lose to Fox. I believe there's something in there. If they don't draw certain numbers, Fox can back out of that deal. And I think that would be catastrophic just for the image of WWE trying to sell to other stations, other channels, and other promoters down the road. So I expect to see SmackDown get the bulk of these people, but I don't really care about the USA versus Fox thing. I don't really care about Raw versus SmackDown. I just want to have 2 competent shows each week. I don't think we'll get that. I think we're going to see Raw and SmackDown switch where you see just Fox getting preferential treatment and whoever they want. The big thing and the only thing I'm really concerned about, or not really concerned, but interested in, I guess, is there's a lot of talk that Fox really wants Bray Wyatt on SmackDown. And with the way that the Hell in a Cell ended, maybe they intended to put that title on The Fiend, but Fox pushed really hard to want him, so they just couldn't do it. And that was whatever stupid decision Vince threw together at the end to kind of make up for it.
That's a good point, because I feel Seth is staying on Raw.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I mean, if you want to look at it with any, hope.
That's all I can think. That makes the most logical sense to me. And we all know WWE doesn't always use logic when it makes things happen. But if I were a business person at Fox, I would want the Fiend Bray Wyatt on my station that I paid $4 billion for because he brings eyes and he's the hottest thing in the company right now, maybe outside of Lesnar.
So Fiend to SmackDown. Now, Big G, I'm going to go to you next. Is there a possibility, or did they rule this out? Could any NXT person get drafted?
I don't think they mentioned NXT being drafted, but we know they've done that in the past drafts, I think last year and the year before. But, they're hyping up this draft to be like this big thing. They're bringing in all the sports celebrities again, and I'm sure they're going to be making all the picks and whatnot. And apparently it'll be Seth and Roman tomorrow night to determine who gets the first pick in the draft. And I think
So
Fox, pretty much, yeah.
Roman's representing Fox and SmackDown, obviously.
Yeah. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, they make the brands will be exclusive.
Okay, TJS.
I do want to see the Fiend on SmackDown. I think that'll be the better choice. So we'll see what happens.
All right, tell me why the hell the Fiend is getting drafted. This doesn't make any sense. Why would you just say, I want this man on my show? Like, no, just let the Fiend go where he wants.
Well, they'll probably say Bray Wyatt.
Oh, yeah, they're going to say Bray Wyatt. Yeah.
No. So they released a little preliminary pool on WWE.com, and it has the list of superstars that are eligible for the draft on night 1 and night 2. So only certain superstars can be drafted on night 1, certain can be drafted on night 2.
Well, Bray Wyatt could be drafted on one show, and the Fiend could be drafted on the other.
That would be all right, but damn it, I'm picturing the Fiend. They're in like a SmackDown T-shirt now, and they pick the Fiend, and then he just comes out there waving at the crowd in a SmackDown T-shirt. Would you put it?
Bray Wyatt could come out. Mr. Rogers could come out. And
exactly.
That would be fun.
I think that'd be
great.
great.
Would be fun. That would be fine. But I just think it's gonna be the Fiend, and he's just gonna have like a SmackDown T-shirt, and he's gonna be part of this like Survivor Series team. I'm just picturing the burial right now. But for this draft, why is it Seth versus Roman and not like Seth versus Brock? Shouldn't it be champion versus champion? Huh? I guess not. But also, wasn't SmackDown on the CW back? Wasn't that like a pretty mainstream channel? I guess not as big as Fox, but it was still up there, right?
It was like a D-list main channel.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Like
well. Yeah, so, but as far as, like, the executives making the picks, I don't know. And, yeah, that's how I know that NXT is not eligible for the draft, is because they released the pools. So in case you're expecting a surprise, nope, not happening. We're going to tell you who's going to be drafted. So there you go, WWE. Great job. I'll still watch. Because it intrigues me, but frustrating.
Yeah.
Aaron, any thoughts here before we move to our main event?
I honestly agree with everyone else. Like, I don't care about the draft this year because my gut feeling is that it's 6 months. It's going to be watered down again, and people are going to be jumping between both shows. I just don't have confidence that WWE is going to take the draft seriously. I mean, I ultimately don't care which show somebody goes to as long as they're kept separate. If you're going to do the brand extension, then do it right. And unless they merge some of the titles, like, how are they going to even do this? Is Becky going to SmackDown as Raw Women's Champion? Is she not eligible? Like, WWE hasn't made it clear. So I don't even know what's going on. It's hard to predict the possible moves.
Maybe that's how they get the title offer. Then she has to forfeit the Raw Women's Championship.
And well, she's on the list. She's on the list to be drafted, Aaron. There's like like I said, they released that pool, which is absurd, but.
Which, I mean, you can't really go by that. I mean, Vince could change his mind about who's jumping at the very last minute.
Maybe champions can still be on both shows. I mean, that'd be weird. Didn't they used to do that?
You know what's funny? I feel like when this is all said and done, like, we're probably going to have similar rosters to what we had in April. Like, I don't see Reigns going back to Raw. Lesnar will probably be on SmackDown. Rollins will probably still be on Raw. Like I feel it's going to be slightly changed here and there. Maybe we'll get one big name.
I have a segue. You're going segue into the main event, Aaron. It'll make sense, at least from my point of view. What do you have, Big G?
Okay, no, go ahead. It's fine.
So let's just turn. The main event is the Bryan versus Reigns feud that was reported that never happened. And that whole horrible storyline that got us, sure, it got Luke Harper back with Rowan. But, like, here's the weird thing. Why aren't they the Bludgeon Brothers? Like, you know what I mean? Call them the Bludgeon Brothers. That's what they were.
Right.
So all of a sudden now, like, Bryan's a babyface after that great heel run. And I feel like this is why this is happening. Bryan's getting drafted to Raw.
Yeah.
That's why I think, and that's why I want the main event piggybacking off of that, is what the heck happened to this Bryan versus Reigns feud, which sounded like something WWE wanted to do. This whole long, drawn-out story just to kill time, clearly now it was to kill time. It led to really nothing big. That, to me, the big name, I guess if you want to call it big name, you could say Bray Wyatt or The Fiend is going to SmackDown. Daniel Bryan is jumping ship to Raw. TJS, you're the big Daniel Bryan fan here. Daniel Bryan mark. So go ahead. Does my argument hold water here? Do you see Daniel Bryan going to Raw?
I certainly hope
that's
not.
Happened.
I hope not. I want Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns to have a match, damn it.
You don't want Bryan versus Seth for the Universal Championship?
Well, I want Daniel Bryan versus Reigns because you guys saw the Fastlane match. That was good. That was great, actually. I want heel Daniel Bryan back. I want the Daniel Bryan that stomped on the Rumble Burger. I want the hemp title that trashed the fans. I think we might have
heel Seth versus Baby Bryan, I think.
Oh, no, please do not bring back the yes chants. Oh, my God. Please. Like, it's the worst. I don't want to see Daniel Bryan as a babyface. The character's dead. He has a t-shirt that says yes is dead. And what are they doing? They're going down that route again. He posted on Facebook, like a Facebook picture with the caption, yes. He hugged it out with Roman Reigns. What is going on? Stop this. This is malarkey. I can't deal with it. I hate it. I want Roman Reigns to fight. I want him leading the faction. I want Harper, Bryan, and Rowan as a faction.
So you want this all to be a ruse to still get the Roman. And I want that too, but this draft is just making it. The draft is the caveat to me.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Bryan goes to Raw and becomes the babyface, which is it's just awful. I hate it. How the fans are just fickle, like Bryan says, and it's like you said, Virtue. They ended the great heel run. Bryan was on fire doing the work of his career, and now he's back to hugging it out with Roman Reigns. Give me a break. I hate it.
Big G, it could be meaning a lot of T-shirts being sold again. So what do you think, man, of this whole... Is Bryan and Reigns still a possibility? Could this be one of the biggest... Or is this draft scenario...
I think if WWE had planned this out, months before, which I'm sure they did, it would have happened at SummerSlam like they intended it to be. But they led it up to this crappy-ass storyline. And now with this draft coming up, I think it's just going to null and void this feud. If this turn would have happened with Daniel Bryan or this swerve, it should have happened at Hell in a Cell, which it obviously didn't. I enjoyed heel Daniel Bryan. He did great work as a heel. But I don't mind babyface Daniel Bryan because the fans still love him. He doesn't have to use the yes chance to be a babyface.
But he's going to. He will.
When he first started in 2010, after he came back from the whole NXT thing, he was a babyface. He didn't. Well, obviously, he didn't have the yes chance back then either.
Yeah, yeah.
But at Hell in a Cell, he didn't do the yes chance. He just came out, did his pose on the ring pose.
Jericho can get new phrases over all the time. Why can't Daniel Bryan?
Exactly, and the fans are still going to do the yes chance regardless if Daniel Bryan does them or not. Look at Steve Austin. People still do it with the what chance. 20 years down the line, people are still going to do the yes chance because that's the thing. I would have liked to see Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns one more time. Like you mentioned, TJS Fastlane. But I don't think we're going to get it with this draft coming up. I think Daniel Bryan's going to go to Raw, have fresh feuds, maybe with Seth Rollins, whoever ends up on Raw. So that's my take on it, guys.
All right.
Hold on.
Oh,
really quick.
Sorry, Aaron and Rob.
Wait, what?
Go.
Oh, sorry.
Go.
I was just gonna.
Go.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns being a tag team and winning the titles, and then having Bryan turn? Is that too late?
Too late.
They could be called Team Hell, Big Dog Yes, or something. That's
Aaron,
the vegan dogs.
I think this was a feud that was scrapped. And
I think so.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Aaron, on final thoughts on this?
Well, I really enjoyed Daniel Bryan's heel run like everyone else, but nothing lasts forever. And I guess he's going to Raw. I think the feud is over. I think TGS is never going to stop laughing here.
What did I miss?
You said when you said
Vegan dogs.
And then Virtue's like, "Oh, sorry, Aaron."
Are you and Big G sharing the same Wi-Fi connection tonight? All right, Aaron.
Well, I have nothing else to really say other than Daniel Bryan, when he came back from his injury, he was so over with the fans. So over. The crowd just loved the guy. And he was the biggest babyface in the world, and WWE somehow screwed that up. Turned him heel. He got over as a heel, and that worked over for a while. And then Kofi Kingston came along, and that pretty much put an end to that. And then his heel turn kind of just floundered. So I'm fine with him being a face now.
What is it?
Shanti.
Like, what is it with these teenagers? We got like two teams going here.
Well, you lose the beard and you have a little bit of
Here's the thing, too. Me laughing when Aaron's trying to talk, you're going to force me now to take this 30 to 45-second snippet and post it on the internet. All right. Anyway, Aaron, as these two were rudely laughing over you want to pass it to Rob now? Passing it to Rob. Rob, all right.
I'm good.
Daniel, I wanted Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
and,
no, I know you did. So this is my thoughts on it.
Whatever.
I'm not upset about this storyline or the way it turned out. I'm not upset about not getting the Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, and I'm going to tell you this.
Silent! Not you, Rob. Not you.
Right.
Jesus. Turn your cameras off.
Hey, there's like a mute microphone button on the bottom right. You guys should check that out.
And laugh like
Yeah.
Rob trying to drive a point home here.
Yeah, I'm trying to drive a point home here. No, I'm not upset because so what you're telling me then is that this feud that you guys all say is a terrible feud is going to lead to a heel turn Seth Rollins to get us rid of this horrible babyface persona he has. It's going to bring back the biggest face in WWE in the past 10 years, which is Daniel Bryan. It got Eric Rowan over as a legitimate person that I don't hate anymore. I don't think he's the worst person to come out of the Wyatt faction anymore. And it brought back Harper. So I don't think any of these things were bad. It may not have gone the way that we planned, but I think that overall this was a very successful promotion. It had some rocky moments in it, but I think the end result for all of the things I just mentioned make it very much worthwhile. I don't really care about, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. We've seen it before, and I'm sure we'll see it down in the future, but there was just a lot of positives that came out of this. So I'm happy. I hope he goes to Raw. I hope he feuds with Seth Rollins, and I hope he goes face again, and I hope Rollins goes heel.
By the way, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing Eric Rowan and Luke Harper again, because I think once this draft happens, we're not going to be seeing too much of those guys again.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like,
We'll see them.
the whole payoff of this is, so all this time that was spent on the storyline, it ends in a tag team match at Hell in a Cell with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan going over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't understand. How is Eric Rowan an established singles competitor now?
You don't think Eric Rowan has more credibility now than he did 5 months ago?
I think he does.
I mean,
I
he's
think
better.
he does.
He's a better promo, but what is he gonna like? Where does he go from here?
Raw.
He's better than being nothing, a guy in a green jumpsuit.
Yeah.
never talks.
Maybe
has no
Harper and
personality.
Rowan go to Raw. That's a
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a legitimate
As the Bludgeon Brothers, hopefully, because they were kind of getting some steam with that until somebody got hurt. Rowan got hurt.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Robbie.
How were they able to use those mallets when Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins get in trouble, or Seth Rollins, namely, got in trouble?
Yeah.
But
Bray used the mallet too.
It was bigger. Bray's was bigger, though. Bray's looked like Wario's from Wario World.
Yeah, but I guess Triple H's is just too damaging.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Like, No DQ Galaxy, what do you think of all these topics? I mean, we covered a lot this week. That's what we usually have to do when we take a week off for a pay-per-view that ended the way Hell in a Cell did. But what do you have to who laughed better, Big G or TJS? You know, it's almost like the Joker was giving them some laughing gas. You been to the dentist lately, guys? Is that you got some laughing gas left in your blood?
I guess so.
But nonetheless, great discussion, and I think we can close it there because we got to get this thing up on the internet so everybody can start leaving comments, and Rob can start doing his thing in the YouTube comment section because he's like the pro there. So let's take it home. Big G, if you can do this without laughing.
No laughing. Remember that Beavis and Butthead episode?
Yeah.
Guys, that's exactly what TGS reminded me of. Humorous.
So, NoDQ.com/Big G takes you to my Twitter page. NoDQ_Big G on Instagram. Jeff Hilton on Facebook. Go to NoDQ.com/merch. Get your team NoDQ. Get your and get your NoDQ.com hats, people. TJS, take it away.
NoDQ.com/TJS takes you to my Facebook page. Twitter @NoDQ_TJS. Follow me there. Robbie, go ahead.
You guys can follow me on Twitter @NoDQVice. According to YouTube comments, it was the most upvoted comment last week or the last review. I am officially the smartest guy in the room, so we can now put that on a t-shirt. Unless you think I'm an idiot, then you guys could post that. But literally, the top comment was, I was the smartest guy in the room.
But are
so
you the funniest guy in the room?
Well, that would be you, Aaron. I think you got the most laughs tonight out of TJS and
We're going to get the
Smokey down there.
unprofessionalism comments so big time this show.
And that's no laughing matter.
That's right.
Well, hold on. I was just impersonating Vince McMahon after Hell in a Cell. That's what I was doing.
Yeah. So
Something
you say.
All right. Are you all set, Rob?
I'm all set. That's all I got. Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah, NoDQ.com, and check out the YouTube channel for all the latest. Subscribe, tell a friend, all that good stuff. And Virtue, let's go and wrap this up before we just laugh ourselves to death here.
Twitter @NoDQ_Virtue. Facebook, NoDQ.com/Virtue. So yeah, look at the professionalism I can maintain, even when TJS is laughing in my face. But that's it. For the Joker, for Hugh Morris, for Aaron Riff, and for Robbie
He's like,
Weiss.
wait a minute. He's like Walter White at the end of Crawl Space.
Where's the money?
Pretty much.
Your interstate Kyle's not over there, like tickling your toes or your feet right now.
I hope
Eating
not.
your toenails.
Ew.
Oh my.
With that said, thanks for watching No DQ Galaxy. We'll see you next time.